Oh, this Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino story gets stranger by the second. You think you know all the details. Well, it's kind of tough because it keeps developing. New details now emerging. And it is a lot stranger than you may have initially thought. And that's the story I'm going to bring you here in 1 minute. Okay, it started with, multiple scoops out there. Laura Loomer bringing one. FBI Director Cash Patel, Dan Bongino are livid with Pam Bondi over her DOJ memo and lack of transparency from her office regarding the Jeffrey Epstein file. You heard about this. Sources tell me Dan Bongino's taking the day off. No one's seen him since, mind you. And there's now speculation on whether or not he will return to his job at the FBI over his disgust with Bondi's lack of transparency in handling of the Epstein files. Okay, we got that. There's more than this, though, because you have to start getting all the details pieced together. And remember, when you're looking at this story, remember who's reporting it to you. And I'm not picking at Laura Loomer right now. No, remember, a lot of this is coming out of the mainstream media. The mainstream media who wants to always make it appear that Trump and his administration is all divided. They're conquered. Look at the anarchy. So we got to take that into our frame of mind when interpreting this. Dan Bongino is now seriously thinking about resigning from the FBI as deputy director over Pam Bondi's mishandling of... Okay, she repeats herself. As I exclusively reported earlier today, Bongino took the day off from work to evaluate whether or not he wants to continue his position with the FBI following the Sunday night release of a memo from the DOJ that claims no more information about Epstein will be released. Sources tell me it's very likely that Bongino resigns from the FBI unless Pam Bondi is fired by President Trump or resigns from the DOJ. Okay, another update. We might not have a deputy director by Monday. Now, it's obvious that Laura Loomer does not like Pam Bondi. Let's put that into context right now, as you continue to see her refer to her as Pam Bondi. But now we got to go to mainstream media, right? For a second. Dan Bongino weighs resigning from FBI after heated confrontation with Pam Bondi over Epstein file. Actually, they were all called in by Susie Wiles. You see, there was some reports after they put this out that didn't put the Trump administration in a very positive light. And when that happens, Susie Wiles calls everyone and says, we all need to have a chat here. I'm hearing some reports that you, Cash Patel, and you, Dan Bongino, don't like what you, Pam Bondi, did. And we'd like the truth. And I'll show you all this in just a moment. Bongino, the deputy director of the FBI, is out of control furious, one source told NBC News. Remember, whatever shapes their story best is what they will report on. Out of control furious. This came after a confrontation Wednesday at a meeting with Bondi and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, during which Bongino and Patel were asked about a news story suggesting they were dissatisfied with the decision, you got it, not to release any additional Epstein files, according to the sources familiar with the perspectives of DOJ leaders and an additional source familiar with the meeting. The meeting, and here you go, was first reported by Axios. What is Axios' position? Always anything against the administration. Know your sources. But I'm going to give you another side, another source who says, don't worry, there's going to be a shakeup. You just may not know what it is. We'll get there. We'll get through the entire story. Before I do, do me a huge favor. Lisa and her subscribers. We need to make sure you're subscribed. You may think you are. We want you to double check. There's a button just below. Make sure it's checked to all. Make sure your bell is checked to all. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, she'll put a link above. And then she also has a very important word from her sponsor. We're going to stick it in right here. We'll be back with you in 1 minute.
But with that, did you know that you can save on average $1,000 per year by acting on what I'm about to tell you? I'm talking about Chapter, the sponsor of this video, and you guys are going to love them. You see, my parents had so many complications with Medicare when they were trying to sign up, and it really should not be that hard. That's why Chapter is now available. They're there to help you. If you are on Medicare right now, or maybe you're looking to get onto Medicare, or maybe you have loved ones or friends who are looking to get on Medicare, or maybe they're on it and they've got all these plans. Well, Chapter can absolutely help you and help them with that. All you have to do is call them at 1-656-218-0111 and talk to somebody there. They're very educated and they could get you the right coverage that you need. There's literally thousands of plans to go through. And the great news is it's absolutely free. So if you want that unbiased help, make sure you give them a call at the number on the screen. You guys are absolutely going to love it. But again, it is free and it can save you money. But if you want more information, check the link in the description box below. It's also there.
All right, back to this amazing, twisted, strange, and sordid saga now. The meeting got pretty heated, another source who was briefed on the meeting said. Remember, according to Axios and NBC News. Bondi, I'm going to ask you a major question. I'll ask it now and I'll ask it again at the end. Who stays, who goes? There's a few options. Does Pam Bondi end up getting canned or leave? Does Dan Bongino end up getting canned or leave? Does Bongino and Patel end up getting canned or choose to leave? Or does no one end up leaving? I can't wait to see it in the comments. Blow it up down below. Bondi, Tam Blanche, Patel, and Bongino were on the same page on this all along until the criticism started. And then, of course, you see how this is framed in, the administration fragments and everybody starts stabbing everybody in the back, and Bongino couldn't take it. He was blamed for missing 1 minute. Oh, the rumors start to swirl. Megyn Kelly, of course she chimes in, can confirm it's either Bongino or it's Bondi. Man, we got a love triangle here, don't we? Patel, Bongino, or Bondi. It's a beautiful soap opera sitting in the White House. And the pick is obvious. Bondi must go. Man, these girls all don't like each other much, do they? Now we have Mary Olin comes out. Sources close to DOJ says Kash Patel also wants Pam Bondi gone. Now that doesn't make a lot of sense because Patel and Bondi have always been extremely close. Yes, Kash Patel also likes Bongino, but from the very beginning, Patel has always been behind Bondi. Remember that. And if you had to pick the two more insiders, if you want to call it, it's Bondi and Patel. Bongino would be the odd man out. And that he's considering leaving if Bongino leaves. And the story continues to get stranger now, doesn't it? Boy, Epstein continues to stir the pot, doesn't he? If he's here or not here. I know. Inside joke for all of us, isn't it? So that Axios article, the one that really stirred the pot. FBI's Dan Bongino clashes with AG Bondi over handling of Epstein files. Why it matters. The dispute erupted Wednesday amid the fallout of the administration's walking back its claims about Epstein by determining the convicted sex offender didn't have a celebrity client list and that he wasn't murdered in a New York City prison cell in 2019. Bongino didn't come to work Friday, leading some insiders to believe he had quit. But administration officials said he's still on the job, even in the internal tension over the Epstein case continues. A source close to Bongino, though, said he ain't coming back. You see what they did there? They want this story sorted. They want it twisted. There's only one man who's going to solve this right now. Do you know who that man is? Oh, it's President Trump. This is when the boss has to come in. Has to sit down with the kids and say, where's this story? How did this happen? Who's responsible? And honestly, look at the mess we caused. Because if you think I'm happy with the administration, anybody who's watched my broadcast on this know I'm absolutely not happy with how they handle it. And honestly, in my opinion, someone's got a rather large cross to bear on this. Because you promised me real transparency. What you gave me was a cover-up. But I digress for a moment. Deputy FBI Director Bongino has told people he is considering resigning amid Epstein file fallout. Look who put this out. CNN. Now you see why everybody's a bit confused. But now let's go to a different source, shall we? Two, to be more particular. News Nation Now. And now we start to get a little bit more into the heart of the matter. What happened here? FBI Director would have released Epstein files months ago if they were able. FBI Director Kash Patel would have released every single piece of evidence. Ex-FBI agent, there are ways agency can hide the info that they can't show to the public. Epstein memo noted that no other evidence would have been released. However, that's not what happened now, is it? A source close to the White House told News Nation on Wednesday that FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino would unseal evidence related to the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein if their department had the ability to do so. This is what caused the meeting with Susie Wiles calling all the kids into the principal's office. This is what the dissension is all about, just to make it really clear for you, because nobody else seems to be able to do this. I believe with full certainty that if Kash Patel and Dan Bongino had the power to operate separately from the DOJ, that they would have unsealed and released every single piece of evidence they could while protecting victims months ago. The source close to the White House said, and folks, you got a problem. But Pam Bondi got permission to do what she did. Do you think she went around President Trump and did it all on her lonesome? I have a hard time believing that. So now you have two odd men out, Patel and Bongino. Do you think they're going to get rid of Patel? Man, that would divide everything. So now, to me, it appears there's one odd man out, and that would be Dan Bongino. There's always a fall guy when it comes to Trump. Remember that. Somebody will take the fall. He's shown that time and time again. Sources, now somebody who I always have trusted, Julie Kelly. Sources confirmed to me that the blow-up between Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi is very real. This has been brewing for 4 months and came to a head at the White House on Wednesday. He has not been in the office since. Most of the frustrations at FBI related to her handling of Epstein disclosures and disputes between FBI and Bondi about how to proceed. Bongino appears ready to resign imminently if Bondi remains in office. There is no question that the base is behind Bongino. I respect Pam Bondi and understand the immense challenge in taking the reins of such a systematically corrupt agency. But the self-inflicted wounds and unforced errors are consuming attention away from the DOJ and FBI achievements. Time is ticking away, and something drastic needs to change immediately. See, another lady against Pam Bondi. You notice there's a trend here. Very tough call for White House right now. I don't see any way Bondi survives this long term. The base won't tolerate it. So do they lose Bongino? Maybe Kash in the short term and her in the not so distant future? Or do they rip the Band-Aid off now and let Kash and Dan do their thing with a new boss? So what say you, huh? Because one other person has an opinion on this. White House is stating, everyone take it easy. This work is being carried out seamlessly and with unity. Any attempt to sow division within this team is baseless and distracts from the real progress being made in restoring public safety and pursuing justice for all. Yeah, okay. If you don't believe this caused a crap ton of tension, come on, that's not real life, folks. This caused a monster amount of tension. They got an overwhelming amount of negative response that somebody's got to pay for. There's no other way out of it. None of us were happy. I've taken a poll on my channel, 1,400 responses. 92% of people are pissed, plain and simple. And that's not going to go unrecognized or unresponded to. But John Solomon's got a different take on some of this. Let's listen in here, and then we'll give you the nice little closing.
What do you got for us, brother? We got a big live audience for you.
There are reports out there tonight that Kash Patel is considering resigning alongside of Dan Bongino. It is not true. My reporting makes very clear Kash Patel is going nowhere unless the president tries to move Kash Patel. He's there for the long haul.
Oh, what say you now? Come on, let's go to those comments. Who goes down? Does Pam Bondi go down? It's probably not the best wording. Does Pam Bondi leave? Does Kash Patel leave? Does Dan Bongino, that was great, huh? Does Dan Bongino leave? I don't think two people go. I think it's gonna come down to one. That's my bet, but I want to see in the comments below. I'll let Solomon go on just a bit further.
Why is that? Because the FBI has a major investigation that looks at the last 10 years of what happened to Donald Trump as one large conspiracy case. No one's going to give that opportunity up. Now, it is true.
That's key. There's key. There is one big conspiracy case on deck right now. It is the conspiracy against the President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. There are two people who are the key to unraveling that overall conspiracy. And those two people are, yes, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. Which means, again, more than likely, Dan Bongino is odd man out. The base is calling for Pam Bondi. I've been through these before, and normally the person who everybody wants gone is not the person who Trump generally picks to be gone. But we will see. I want to see in the votes below, and then we will review it in a future broadcast. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Night, signing out.